Sims, let's go.
Hello everyone, it's your girl Miracle Sims and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight we're going to be talking to Mr. Ben Brown and he is the salesman of all sales. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. As you can see, I'm here with Brother Ben Brown. Look, I'm calling him brother already. How you doing?
Doing quite well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to have you here. Welcome to the GSL Talk Show.
Always.
Yes. So let's start off with you telling me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, things of that nature.
Well, in the next 30 minutes, what I'm going to share with people when I talk is basically a sales background. I'm a sales coach. And actually, in the next 30 minutes, we'll go over points that people can use where anybody can sell anything, anytime. So sales is simple, but it's not easy. And I teach the steps to make you do that. And if you're willing to put the work in, you could be a great salesperson as well. So if you're an entrepreneur or business person, you have to know how to sell or what that is all about, especially in your marketing, to be key. So sales is everywhere, and I emphasize that and use that in my concepts to make people understand how important it is in business and entrepreneurship to get it out there and learn how to sell.
Hey, well, I guess let's get our pens and papers, everybody, and take some notes, because I mean, seems like we have a pro on the line today. Awesome. I mean, well, do you want to tell us where you're from?
I'm currently right now, I'm in Tampa, this beautiful building right here. One of my friends just bought 3-story. It's beautiful with glass and looking out an entire city downtown, which is growing. It's going to be the next Miami, but I'm based in Clearwater, which is across the bay. It's a little bit later, but that's where the tourists go for Clearwater Beach. So Florida, Tampa area is where I reside, but I'm originally from South Carolina, a country boy, with a tractor and 200 acres. So I can cover both ends.
Okay. Yeah, I used to live in Florida for about 5 years. I was in the Orlando area. I know, but the interesting thing is it still gets cold there. I know people think like, oh, it's just sunny and stuff like that, but it's like it gets cold too.
Yes.
I still need my big coat every now and then, you know.
Absolutely.
So I guess it's still chilly down there right now, or is it still kind of chilly down there right now?
No, this is a beautiful time of the year. Fall and spring is always the best times of the year because, you know, winter is great. You can wear flip-flops, but, you know, May comes around is when all the northerners head back up because, you know, the heat comes and people not used to that. So, but, you know, that's our winter time. It's the summertime, right? Because that's when all the people leave and they go other places. And then around about October is when the weather starts coming back nice and you could do that. So your air condition turns on in May, doesn't turn off till October.
I know it. Look, good old Florida, man. Good old Florida. So, I mean, you want to tell us all about sales. Well, first, let us know, how did you get into sales and what has gotten you on this journey to, I guess, teach others and things of that nature?
Well, when I left the Marine Corps, I started being personal training and I got recruited. Sales is kind of like acting. Sometimes you fall into it because there's no degree in it. It's not a leeway, but it's one of the major skills people need to learn if they're in business or coming out from a Fortune 500 company or a regular company starting to be entrepreneurship. is learning how to sell. It's the movement of the items or services that you provide. And it's a skill, just like you would any labor job, like carpentry, woodworking, if you're welding. It takes work. It takes a good mentor to help you understand what that is. And in a business, what that structure looks like, or what the sales process looks like, no matter what you're selling, because sales is everywhere. And so once you understand the concept of what that is and how it implements based on your business or what you're doing, lays it down. So my deal in the beginning is like an awakening. Most people don't know what a sale is. So I ask yourself, what is the purpose of a sale?
Not only I guess to bring in income, but to provide whatever it is you're selling. No. What's the purpose of a
So
sale?
sales doesn't have to do with monetization. When a child asks you to pick them up, 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 that's a close. They're closing you, right? So there's no product involved. That child, we've been born to sell, to get asked for what you want, right? So the purpose of a sale is very simple, is to get somebody to move. So when you're on your phone, what are people asking you to do when you go start scrolling through? Click on this, go here, put in your email, try this out, download this, swipe left, swipe right, billboards, call me now, right? Call this number, come into our store, take a look at this. It's all little movements that you're doing. It's a process in anything that's happening. Most people don't know it's aware of it. So people say, well, I hate sales. You're in sales. You're in the United States. Everything is sales from the time you wake up till you go home. And when you're married, that's a sale, because whenever you stop selling that, that's over. So the main thing is, you have to be aware of what sales is to understand how to do it well in your company. And most people don't understand that. They just think it's something they do, where it's everything around it. It's your whole environment, right?
I mean, that's true. I can see that. And it's interesting because you tapped to a lot of little different things here, because you say you was in the Marine Corps. That's what my husband was in. You mentioned acting. That's my background. And, so then I'm like, okay, so, and then I am a bit of an entrepreneur, and I definitely, have appreciation for that. And I feel like perhaps there are a lot of people that are in that position. I think marketing and sales is one of the probably biggest issues as an entrepreneur. Again, no matter what the business you have. And so, I mean, I'm here to, all ears. What do you want to share with us? I know you can't share it all for free or nothing, but I mean,
So it's fundamental things that I teach, right? So sales is simple. The concepts that I teach, sales is simple, but it's not easy, right? So it has to be practiced. And most people in today, self-confidence for individuals has fallen because everything is individualized. So most people are not willing to take the rejection to learn sales. And let me repeat that. Most people are not willing to take the rejection to learn sales, because sales is about rejection, right? So 80% of sales is confidence. You talk about acting. It takes a lot to be on that stage, right? To blur those lines if you don't do it right. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety. And people like to be comfortable as humans. We don't like to be out of our place. In order to be in sales, you not only have to be out of your place, you have to take the potential client and bring them out of their comfortability to get them to do what? Move. See how it starts coming together?
Yeah.
So if you're just talking at someone, which most people in sales are just talking at someone, you're having a conversation, you're not asking them to do anything. You're informing them. So most people, when they do presentations, they're just informing people. They're not asking them to do anything. And hopefully what I'm telling you will convince you that you take the challenge to do it, right? Are you ready to move forward? Like, and the person's like, what are you talking about? Like, you want to start doing this? Like, stupid closes like that. And people are like, well, I got to think about it, right? Boom. There's no, and then there, of course, there's no rebuttal. You're like, okay, well, when should I call you back? And then next thing you know, you got a list of people that you're calling back. When you call them back, what's the first thing? Hey, you ready to go? You jump right back in where you think you left off, and people go, who is this? So now you got to start back. So most people don't know where they're at in that conversation. So it's a process of building blocks for a close, right? So in my book, Master the Art of Closing the Sale, cheap plug, I explain the 10 steps. Every sales has 10 steps, but not every business needs all 10. So once you understand those steps and become repetitive, you can practice it, Because in essence, the key what I want to express here, a good salesman is not doing a two-way conversation. Let me say that again. A good salesman is not doing a two-way conversation. They are actually above looking at the entire conversation while it's going on and judging how that is going. So that takes three things to do. You have to know where you're going. You have to be confident, right? And you have to be willing to listen. And you have to do all three at the same time, right? Which is a skill. And so most people don't have that. They're just talking, right? It's and then they're not listening. And then when they don't get the close, they're not confident. They walk away. And so a number of things, money that people leave on the table all the time is because they don't have a process. They don't know whether they're doing good. They don't know. They have nothing to gauge by. And so it's a number of things that people have, your database, all these things when you have businesses. So simply, I ask people right in the beginning, do you have a sales process? And they look at me like, I'm like, there's the problem. There is the problem. So that's one of the major reasons why businesses, but they say 88% of businesses don't make it over 5 years. And what percentage of that is due to sales?
Yeah.
A lot, right?
So then at this point, like, should people just, I guess, hire the sales team and make sure they all, are
a good question.
Your book?
Good question.
So you're saying more so is we should take upon ourselves.
Here's another thing. How are you going to hire a salesperson if you don't know how to sell yourself? So one of the things I found is that a salesperson can get a job doesn't mean you can sell your product. So that's the high turnover. I had this guy in, didn't work out. He said he could do this. I hired this guy. How much time did you spend in that? How much hours, how much money did you spend trying to get the person? So I've actually worked for companies and did the hiring because one thing salesperson does know how to do is get a job, right? We call them gigs. You're in acting, right?
Yep.
Just because you went down and did the audition doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it on a stage or in front of a camera, right?
That's true. You have to.
So it's the same thing with sales. So sales is an action item, right? It's an action item. So it's something that you do. And so most people don't understand that it's a physical skill. You're in communication with people. So that's why most people in business nowadays rather market themselves to low-hanging fruit, email campaigns, funnels, something where I don't have to get on the phone and actually talk to people because I don't like to do that. But I have a business, right? Make sense?
I mean, I guess it don't make sense now that you said you shouldn't, I guess, do that route, right?
Well, the first thing I teach in sales is never assume anything. It's all ruled out by questions. So most people don't have the confidence to ask enough questions.
Got you. Well, I mean, listen, I'm at a loss for questions now. I just want to listen. But yeah, I mean, okay, so I know you kind of told us how you got into it, and then so what inspired you to go ahead and create the book?
Well, when I ran businesses since 2002. I own a limousine company and another company I work with right now. So I started looking at I wanted to teach in life. And for a while, I tried to figure out what I wanted to teach. And then I figured out teach what I already know. Then I put a pilot together to test my theory and my philosophies and the process that I helped over many of years, grabbing us all together to make it simple for people. And put it out and did a pilot on it. And the people that I worked with did tremendous with it. So I started my coaching business about 5 years ago. So when people ask me, when it comes to, coaching, when it comes to sales, like, what do you do? I say, I make people money because it's not theory, right? If you could sell more, you make more. So the key component is I like when people talk about marketing and stuff like that. The wheel hits the road when the potential client actually penetrates the skin of your company, whether that be an email lead or walk into your store or, a phone call. That's when the sales kick in. Sales and marketing are not the same. So
True.
once they get in front of you, sales, marketing is to create an awareness. Sales is to bring them in and to help them. And so once you understand that concept, and then your process starts from that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like lifting weights. 1, 2, 3, and you do it over and over and over again. But you add your personality on top of it. And if you do it well, it's a beautiful thing, and also it's quite fun.
Yeah, I can see how that could be. I mean, I guess right now, I know as entrepreneurs, right, especially people that are starting off and they're by themselves, you're wearing all the hats, right? And so you're
Right.
on the phones, you're doing whatever the gig is, all this type of stuff. And so I can get out sometimes. It's like, man, I just want to outsource. I can't do everything. I need help, and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, I mean, I guess if you acquire the skill of sales, and then that should again help you in your business to be able to grow, and then you know what to train your team on what you need for them to do based on what you learn. So I get that.
So the first thing I tell people, most companies are not successful at sales is because you don't give your salespeople enough. You don't give them enough tools to be successful. Right. So when you start working for a company in sales, they normally have a training process. This is the way we do things here. Most companies don't have that. They just go, oh, you can sell this. And then it doesn't work out is because you don't have a model of what it looks like for them to be confident, which I say 80%, to be successful. So they wing it, and it doesn't fit a lot of times. So the main thing is that when somebody comes in for sales, you say, this is the way we do things here. This is the model I've learned over many years. If you don't have that in place, you're asking the person way more than they require to do to come in and wing it for your company. And most times it doesn't work. And you spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to make that work. Right. Because I don't want to do it. I want to pay somebody else to do it. So they come in and like, you just sell this. And they're like, okay, you're going to pay me. And then you pay them a salary. You overpay a salesperson. If you overpay a salesperson, they'll be lazy. So you don't know what to pay. You don't know what to pay them. Right.
Right.
So I'll tell you a funny example.
Commission only. I feel like I see a lot of sales stuff that's like, oh, and it's commission only. I guess is that supposed to be the incentive to?
Well, the funny thing, my first 15 years in sales was just commission only. I went for my first job that was non-commission. I walked in, the people came in and said, man, you are outstanding, based upon, I'm like, yeah, I can sell because every week I made whatever I made, I did it on my own, right? And every week the pressure was on. So when I got this job, it was a headhunting firm. And they brought me in and they sat me down and I'm like, okay. And I had my own cubicle because before then I was on the floor with about 125 people on the phone, like a stock market, right? For years, right? A little desk, a little notebook, and a black phone. No computers. Wow. So I got to the company and they said, we're going to start you off at 35,000. So what is your first name?
Miracle.
So I said, Miracle. I said, 35,000? They said, yes, that's phenomenal. I said, you're going to start me off with 35,000 leads? They were like, no, we're going to start you off at $35,000. I was like, for what? They were like, that's your base. I'm like, what is a base?
Right. Like what's going on here? You trying to
every week you had to fight to get leads. And I'm like, you give me 35,000 leads. I'm thinking of the money. They're like, no, I'm like, you just going to pay me to come in? They were like, yeah. I'm like, what? I mean, like I was old school. You know what I'm saying? I came from boot camp. So, every week I had to struggle to get leads and only the top people got leads every week. So every week was a battle. Every week was a battle. So when you get into that comfort zone, you walk in, you got the desk, you got the coffee. All these people get lazy and don't understand, how rough it is when you talk about commission only salespeople. We're dogs. We hunt every day. We hunt. So we don't really care about emotions and what's going on at home and what you did last Sunday. We want the phone, get on the phone, outbound, especially outbound calls and things of that nature is what we actually do. So, you don't have to be that aggressive when it comes to sales, but you have to understand the concept of it. So I came from the difference I provide people is that, the beautiful part is that I've not only done it, I'm not the best salesperson, but I can teach it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So then how is the coaching business going?
It's always going great. I work with multiple people around the world. We do sessions and things of that nature. Most of the time in the beginning, I have to work on people's mindset. And I learned
Mm,
that 3 years in, if I don't fix the mindset, they won't be able to digest what I'm trying to teach them. So in the beginning,
mm.
it's a lot of mindset training people have delusions about based on or their confidence level. Once I can change that, then I can add in the training and they can do phenomenally well.
Mm. Do you do more like one-on-one training or do you do more so like workshops or
I've done both, but mainly one-on-one because we do main thing to get sales is because it's an action item is you do role playing, right?
mm. Okay.
And that's what builds the confidence for people making mistakes. You don't practice on clients. And there's tons of people practicing on clients every day.
Right. Right. That's true. That's true. So then how do you feel about the telemarketing and the people? Because I feel like a lot of people when they get those calls, they just hang up or you know what I mean? So do you
What do
feel like
you
it's
mean?
anything? I mean, yeah, I feel like when people like if a telemarketer calls me right now, I'll be like, you answer, they're like, you hit a recording or whatever, and then you just hang up. And so I'm like, how are those people? I mean, I'm sure they're surviving. Obviously, they're doing it as a job, but
Mhm.
it seems like they're getting more hangups than actual conversations. At least
Once,
from my little humble perspective of not really knowing what they're
on-
getting. So I'm
once
just
again,
wondering, like,
once again, Miracle, you're assuming. Sales is a numbers game, right?
okay,
It's
yeah,
a numbers game. So it doesn't matter. They're getting at bats and opportunities. You know, they remember I said there's always somebody buying, there's always somebody selling every day. Me and you can come together right now. We can start a business right here in Tampa. And I said, Miracle, we're gonna go right down the street, right down here. You know what we're gonna sell? Like pet rocks, like on the corner. You'd be like, crazy? Like, we're gonna do it for like $10 a rock. And you're like, what? And you're like, no, I can't see that. But guess what? I bet you 3 months later we were making like $1,300 a day, and people are coming around. I love these pet rocks, like, and you'll be like, wait, we selling this, and I'm like, it's all about the numbers game. We're gonna get turned down, but maybe 3 out of 100 is gonna buy these rocks, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's all at bats.
Yeah.
So the concept of it is, I'll give you a good example when I teach. The four best salespeople in the United States. A homeless person in a good city like Tampa that come out there with the sign. How much do you think they make per day?
Who
Good,
knows? Valley Border.
good
Rookie.
mentally. You've had a bad. And we're on. I tell people we're only a couple steps away from being that person. Illness, bad debt, something happened, tragic in the family. I mean, we could be a homeless person at any given time. So there's no advantage or disadvantage being homeless. It's just circumstances, right? So that
Right.
person that's out there have a good mental, just down on their luck, and they have a good sign. How much do you think they normally can make per day?
Like I was saying, I was thinking they might be doing better than some of us that's working, honestly. Um,
Normally you're looking at around about $300 to $700 a day, right?
what?
Now, you don't see that person out there every day, right? You don't need to because they don't have overhead. They don't have fax machines, computers. They don't have rent. They don't have to deal with bills. They don't have to deal with any of that stuff. So the money that they get is also tax free, right? So imagine if you're out there and you're doing, and they're making $300 to $700 a day. Miracle. Let me ask you a question. When you give them the money in their hand, what do you get in return in your hand?
Nothing in my hand. No.
Nothing.
No.
Right. So how is their business going out asking, making $300 to $700 a day, and they're selling absolutely nothing? And there's most entrepreneurs out there doing less than that per day, and they have a product. What's the difference between the homeless person and entrepreneur?
Aside from having the product, I don't know now.
The homeless person is focused. He
Hmm.
has focus on his or her side. Doesn't care what they look like, doesn't care what they smell like, doesn't care what people say, doesn't care how many times they get turned down. doesn't care about what the family thinks about them, doesn't care what social media is going on, doesn't care about coffee, doesn't care about what they're doing for lunch, doesn't care whether their car is up the park, doesn't care about a mortgage, doesn't care about anything. They're only focused on the next customer over and over and over and over again. So when you have an entrepreneur, they worry about their website, the business card, the banks, all this stuff is going on in their head. They're not focused enough to ask. They're not asking. So the difference between a homeless person and the entrepreneur is the homeless person is asking and focused on asking. The entrepreneur is not. They want to build a website. They want to do a funnel. They want to do an email campaign. They want to make it look pretty. They want to get an office. They want to get. So you see the difference, and they're not making this money.
Mm-hmm.
They're still in business. The entrepreneur is in business. The homeless person is in business to make money, and he's killing you.
That's something to think about for sure. Matter of fact, I saw somebody post recently. They was like, "Oh, just started a business, and I've sold my clothes, my home, my da da da." Because I guess they were alluding that they're not really bringing in anything that sell, things or whatever. Man, you definitely brought a new way to think about it. I mean, I guess get out there and ask, then, huh? Oh, did I lose you?
Entrepreneurship, they get in there and they want to start doing all this other stuff. I'm like, have you sold anything? Remember when you watch what's the show that comes on TV about entrepreneurs? What is it called? Shark Tank?
Like Shark Tank, yeah. Shark Tank.
What's the first thing they always ask the person after they do their pitch?
I haven't really watched that show that much, but I'm
What
assuming
is your sales? How much sales have you done before you came here, right? Mm-hmm, like what proof of concept, right? So when people say, "Oh, I started a business," oh, okay, what are you doing? Well, I'm starting to get a website together. I'm getting business cards. I'm like, have you sold anything? Mm-hmm. Right? So the same thing when people talk about they're a boss babe, like how much are you selling? Then you say the term boss. Okay, so you're a boss of who? How many employees do you have? Well, I'm just me. You're not a boss. So where do you get that concept from? Like all these misconceptions about entrepreneurship, people think it's a beautiful thing. It's tough being an entrepreneur. It's really, really tough. And so people don't think about the bad side of what's going on out here. And they think it's grand. I'm going to start my own business, my hair business. And like, do you know how hard it is? You don't get paid. You got to worry about all these other things that you have going on. And the main thing is you're not selling. You're worried about everything else. So it's only a matter of time before something happens, or you just get bored. So one of the things I want my prerequisite for working for people is that you have to like or love what you do. Like it, love it, or leave it is my concept. If you don't like it, love it, leave it. Because when things get tough, you will leave it, right? So you have to have that concept first to get you through the hard times, because there will be hard times. It's always a guarantee, and if you get good times, you will get sued and you have hard times. So, that type of thing.
Oh, man, you say you will get sued. Why you say that?
You ask any successful entrepreneur that's out there. They always talk about what did you do to be successful? Either a millionaire, billionaires, we all have the same story. You ask them, they always ask them all the positive things. You ask them, how many mistakes have you made before you became a millionaire? They probably got hundreds of stories, right? But nobody focuses on that. They all want to focus on the good things. You got a big house. What did it take? How many years did it take for that person to get to that part, right? There's no instant gratification, no instant success when it comes to entrepreneurship. And if you did get it by that and you got it too quick, you won't appreciate it and you'll lose it anyway.
So, I mean, share with me a good story on this sales journey for you. Like I don't know if you want to share like a client that you work with or your own thing. Like, give me a good like sales learning story.
Okay, I'll give you a cool one. So I'm in a sales room with about 125 guys. If you ever remember the movie Boiler Room, it's kind of like that. So everybody's on sales side by side. There's no computers. All you had was a black phone and a notebook. No computers. Fax machines is the only way you could send information before that time. So I tell people tools slow people down because you could go door to door and make money. You don't need a computer. You don't need, but most people rely on these tools: cell phone, computers, radio, TV. So we're doing about 140 dials per day. We're knocking out a ton of things like that. So there's certain rules in sales that you have to hear by, and you have to understand how those actually work. And one of the things is in sales is the first one talk on the close loses. That's a rule. I tell people laws because people break rules, but they don't break laws. So when you're disciplined, you understand that, and you don't understand it till it actually happens. So I'm on the phone with a gentleman from Texas. And so we're talking about a $3,000 purchase on a credit card for him personally. And so what I used to do, because I sold all day, I had a little ball I used to play with, and I used to stand up and just have a headset, which means I was good because normally you're on the phone like this all day. So I had a ball I would just play with, and I'm just going through my pitch. And so you get toward the end, and then I had a clock, like you do chess. When you make a move, you hit the clock, and the clock starts. So to have fun with it, that's what I would do, because you're doing a lot of psychology when you're selling. So I get towards the end of the close. I've been talking to him, going through this presentation for about 30 minutes, everything like that. Southern gentleman, so you have to understand, real determined. They're going to make their decision when they make their decision. So I used to time it, and the record at that time was 6 minutes of dead silence on the phone before somebody would say something, and break that rule. This is why I go through training. So you have to mentally understand that. So I go, what card you want to put that on? Boom. So I know my training. Not worried about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the mental aspect. Just start playing with the ball. And I put it on mute. And I just start playing with the ball. And I just sit there. And my manager on the end, because it's a call center, can look and check and make sure the person didn't hang up. The hang up, we just call them back and be like, hey, we got disconnected. So what card you want to put in? So he was on, and in 5 minutes in, I point at him. And the manager's still on the line. 6 minutes. Still on the line. 7 minutes. At 7 minutes, my manager calls through the room, 125 people. Brown got a 7-banger. What's the 7-banger? 7 minutes of dead silence on the close. So the whole room gets quiet. Whole room shuts down. 8 minutes. 9 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes and 39 seconds, the guy goes, well, still didn't say anything. Another 30 seconds of silence. Then he comes back and he goes, I guess we'll do it. The room went crazy. I'm on mute. Everybody down, get the credit card, and did it. Now, anytime within that 10 minutes and 30 seconds, if I had said anything, are you still there? What you waiting on? Any more questions? Anything discipline-wise, right? Your urge to communicate as a natural person in sales, you have to fight that urge. At any time, if I would have went back and said anything, it would have tore everything down. I would have had to start all over again, because that's, you build a sale up. And so that discipline, my record still standing when I left, was 10 minutes and 30 seconds of dead silence. So you ask a person, can you do that? Can you do 10 minutes? Because the discipline is the first one talk loses. Don't break that rule. And many people break that rule all day. And what happened? And then what salespeople do is that salespeople are trying to sell will pull excuses. They wasn't ready. They can't afford it. All these different. It's not me. It wasn't me. It was them. They wasn't ready. The lead wasn't hot. They wasn't ready to go. They don't have the money. All this kind of stuff. No, it was you. So most people won't take accountability. They don't have the training and discipline to understand that. And that's just one of the things that you need to learn in order to be a good salesperson, is have the discipline to listen. And so, 10 minutes and 30 seconds of dead silence.
Wow. That is very amazing and interesting. I mean, well, congratulations to you on that. Was everybody popping bottles out there?
No, you just move on. I mean, it's just another sale. So the main thing is just going to the next one. You got the record, and you just keep moving. It's just like being a basketball player hitting a 3-pointer from half court at the end of the quarter. You still got the rest of the game.
True. That's true. Okay.
You're professional.
That's interesting. Wow.
Professional salespeople. People dabble in it. or be entrepreneurs, but when you're a professional salesperson, it's just part of your job.
Got you. Got you. I guess I'm being reminded of this one time I was on a call and this lady was really trying to sell it and stuff, and I would say the same thing over and over again, and she would be like, "Oh, well, what if this and what if that," and keep going. I'm like, some people, I know that must be a tactic or of some sort on things, but ah, I
Well,
don't know. Are you familiar with
one of
that?
the things you have to understand, Miracle, is that when you're a good salesperson, you know what's coming before the other person,
Mm,
right? So
hmm.
you're very comfortable at making people uncomfortable because you know exactly where you're going. You're taking them on a trip. And
Mm,
sometimes they don't feel comfortable doing it, but once you get them to move, this is the deal that you have to do. I can't sit here and talk at you all day. I'm like, I get either you're going to buy or move on, right?
right. Yeah.
Either I can help you or not, right?
Hmm. I
So
mean,
that's the thing people have to understand. Little baby steps in that process. There's 10 steps. So all I'm doing is check mark through my process. One, two, as I'm moving along, three, four. Oh, you don't like four? Let's go back to three, go back to four. All these type of deals that I'm doing. And what happens is if you know what you're doing, the manager can listen in, or me and you could be in the room together and you can say, hey, I need help with the sale. And I'll look at you and go, Miracle, what step are you on? Five. I'm like, okay, I could take over right from that point because I know the process, right?
hmm,
Excuse me, hey,
hmm.
it's Ben Brown. I was just called. Miracle had to go to the bathroom, but let me ask you a question. Like, boom, I could step right in where you left off on because this is the way we do things here, right?
Mm.
That's the sales process what I'm talking
Yeah. Yeah.
about. Yeah.
I mean, well, hey, you're selling it to me today, man. Sounds like you're great at what you got going on, and I mean, um, so I mean, is there anything else outside of the coaching and the books and whatnot that you want to share with us?
Oh no, I tell people, sales is a beautiful thing. If you love it, like it, sell it.
Mm,
But the main thing, like Mark Cuban from Shark Tank and owner of the Dallas Mavericks says, if you're an entrepreneur, the first thing you want to know how to do is learn how to sell. And if
right.
you're assuming anything, then you're going to get screwed. That's why I said in sales, the first rule of sales is never assume anything. It's all ruled out by questions, and people just not asking the questions.
Mm.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess I only got one more question, and that is, I mean, do you want to share with us how people can get in touch with you and get your
Yeah.
book and things of that nature?
Ask it. Awesome. So what I do is very simple. In the meeting at the bottom of this link in your podcast, you can click on. You can use my URL, which is very simple. It's called meetwithbenjamin.com to schedule a call one-on-one with me. Go through a session free. Figure out what you need. My book is on Amazon, Master the Art of Closing the Sale by Benjamin Brown. And you can go there and get the book and start learning the 10 steps before that, or I can issue it to you. My website is 360salesconsulting.com, where you can go there and get some information based upon that. But meetwithbenjamin.com is my call to action for people. Click on that link, like this podcast, go ahead and do that and schedule yourself a call and get yourself in knowledge with sales. One question I have to ask you, what was the one thing that you got from this podcast so far?
Well, one, I need to stop assuming. And I guess that's one thing. Yes. Stop assuming. And I guess I need to work on my sales tactics out here. I need to be quiet a little while, just wait. Things of that nature.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was great talking to you.
It's nice talking to you too. I appreciate you and your time.
Awesome. Anything you let me know, just reach out. Always happy.
Wishing I would have a one night affair.
Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Brother Ben Brown for joining us tonight, sharing his gems about sales. And I hope that you guys are encouraged and inspired. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out Brother Ben, his book, his coaching services, and much more. Have a good night.